So now I want you all to repeat with me. Boa tarde. This means good afternoon in Portuguese. And as you can tell by my accent, English is not my first language. But England is home now. I describe myself as Brazilian by birth and British by choice. So I'm a migrant. You can tell the colors of Brazil on my socks and shirts. I moved here at the age of 21, leaving a really good job at Microsoft in Brazil. When I moved here, I couldn't speak the language. And my qualifications were not valid. And I didn't have British experience on my CV. This meant that I wasn't qualified to get a good job. So I had to become a kitchen porter, a cleaner, and a glass collector to pay my bills. This was back in December 2002. And life was very tough. Tuna sandwich and moolah rice were lunch for about 6 months. But when you're a migrant and you move to a new country and you don't speak the language, it's like becoming a child again. You're an adult, but people will teach you how to pronounce the words, and they will correct you all the time. And sometimes this can make you feel really stupid. And some of us will think that we are second-class citizens. But obviously, moving countries and becoming a migrant, it's not for you to feel sorry for yourself. You move countries because you have a goal that could be create wealth, find love, study, fix a broken heart. Or you may be moving countries because your own country does not accept the way you are. One of the reasons that I moved, it was because my own culture was too intolerant against gay people. So I had to find a place that accepted me and loved me the way I am. And I love this country. You see, there are experiences that you go through when you become a migrant that you will never go through if you're in your own country. In my first 6 months in the UK, I went through loneliness, isolation, homesickness, and I had lack of support network. I only knew 2 people in London, my sister Etienne and my best friend Wagner. This meant that only 2 people would be there for me if I was ill, or if I was hit by a bus, or if I won the lottery. But I ask myself the question, why do people do that? Why do they move countries? Why do they migrate? Why do they leave family and friends behind, and sometimes a really good lifestyle to start from zero? And sometimes, why do you leave to go in a flat share with strangers that will fight over dirty dishes? But you see, this is not the reality of every single migrant. But it was my reality. And it is the reality of millions of migrants around the UK, USA, Germany, and every single country in 195 countries we have in the whole world. It sounds really bad to be a migrant, doesn't it? But it's not. Trust me. Once you make friends, these friends are going to become your family. They become family because they know what loneliness means. They know what it is to be homesick and miss the food, the music, the hug. We understand each other because we are all in the same boat. Talking about moving and being in the same boat reminds me of a story of my sister. When we moved here, back in Brazil, she was a medical rep. She was representing one of the world's biggest pharmaceutical companies. And when we moved to London, she got a job in the marketing department of a language school. That meant she was giving out leaflets on Oxford Street for £5 an hour. Now, you see, when you get a job and bills are no longer a worry in your mind, it's time to immerse yourself in the language and culture, because they go hand in hand. You don't master the language if you don't understand the culture, and you will never be able to understand the culture well if you don't speak the language. So, talking about culture, I have a funny story. It reminds me when I went to see my mother-in-law-to-be, and I was traveling to Hampshire, beautiful countryside, leafy, very, very English. So I remember going there with my future husband-to-be, and I was thinking, the horror in her face when I say, "Hi, I'm Rafael from Brazil." Obviously, it was not the case. She was very welcoming, and she embraced our wedding, and she hosted the wedding in her garden. But back to life in London, I was tired of taking the bus because it was cheaper than the tube, and I was tired of eating Tesco value food. So when an opportunity came along, my flatmates were moving out. We lived in a nice council house in Baker Street, and they were going back to Colombia, so I thought, I'm going to keep the house and I'm going to sublet the rooms so I can save money from the rent. By then, it was 2003, I could speak English, and I had a good job. I was spraying perfume in one of those stores on Oxford Street. Those people that go, "Would you like to try?" It was better than cleaning toilets. But I was still not earning enough to have the same lifestyle that I had in Brazil. So I thought, if I save money and if I rent another house, maybe I can have an extra income. So I did that with a second house, and then I did that with a third house. Then by 2005, I thought, okay, I'm not working anymore, I'm going to do this professionally. So I started a business, an agency that was letting and managing rooms in flat shares. So between 2005 and 2014, I grew the business. I was managing these properties. So I went from one house to 50 with 15 members of staff. I bought houses, I refurbished. It was great. I was really feeling on top of the world. By then, I had visited 45 countries across the globe. And now I was fluently speaking 3 languages. So I thought, okay, what else can I do now to help people who want to migrate? And how can I share the knowledge that I had in all these years? So I wrote a book called Moving Abroad One Step at a Time. It was a book to help people understand the emotional challenges of moving and living abroad. But life is not a bed of roses. What happened then in between 2014 and 2015, I decided to launch a tech business, an online business, helping people move abroad. I was selected to go to a business accelerator in the US, and I got sponsored in thousands of dollars, and I moved there. But the business didn't work. And I lost, from my own money, £70,000. And that meant I also lost strength. What happened then is I became trapped in this black hole in my mind called depression. And for about 6 months, I lived like this. And this photo was taken by my husband to say that one day that photo will help you to never go back to that black hole. When I was living like this, the thoughts that were in my mind were, I'm a failure. I'm worth nothing. I will never be able to make anything work again. But thanks to friends, family, a coach, a therapist, and my husband, I beat depression, and I'm very happy to share this story today. You see, when you're a migrant and you move to a new country, you try to hold everything together to make it a success. There is a lot of pressure that you put on yourself for your life to work. Also, when you try to beat that voice, you know that voice that tells you you are too fat, you are too skinny, you are too black, you are too gay, you are second-class citizen. Others are so much better than me because I will never be able to speak the way they do. That voice, that probably would have an accent too, it's you. And that voice in migrants' heads become barriers. And the barriers stop them from progressing further. But also those barriers are the ones that push them because they are too ashamed to go back home with the tail between their legs. These barriers that are created by migrants sometimes are real. There are concrete barriers that stop migrant entrepreneurs from starting or growing a business. And I found out through research what they are. Lack of funding. How can I access money if I don't have enough credit history? How am I going to be able to create a network of people if I only know 2? And how do I access knowledge? What is the information? What is bookkeeping? Why the hell the financial year in this country starts on the 6th of April? Does anyone know? So, learning about this, I thought, I have to find a solution. I need to help those who want to start and grow a business because it's not just about themselves, it's about helping others. It's about creating jobs. So I created a business called My Hub. It's a co-working space with 150 desks, so we are able to provide the network that people need to get to know each other, to sell to each other so they can do business. We also have a training room, so we are able to provide the knowledge that people need in tax, marketing, or branding to run their business. And we also provide a business accelerator. We are the only one in the UK, the only co-working space that runs a business accelerator to help migrants to access finance. You see, migrant entrepreneurs are resilient. We are very hardworking. Now, imagine what the world would be like without the Brazilian caipirinhas, the German beer, the British fish and chips. God save the Queen. 14% of businesses in the UK are owned by people like me, migrants. This equates to almost 1 million small businesses in the whole of this country. M&S, Google, Pfizer, eBay, they were all founded by migrants. And what would the world be like without Apple? Steve Jobs was the son of a Syrian migrant. We give much more than we take. We are all migrants. We are all entrepreneurs, but above all, we are humans. Thank you.